All right, let's begin just by taking a couple of deep breaths. Releasing any tension, any less than energy that we're aware of. Connecting with spirit above by breathing from the heavens above. Connecting with the earth below by breathing up from Mother Earth. Let's give thanks for our time here on this gorgeous planet. And let's give thanks for our fellow spiritual beings, whether they be in human form, animal form, plant form. All the blessings of the earth experience. Thank you. To me, animals and nature are our two most overlooked resources for our spiritual growth. There's just any characteristic, any energy that you want more of, any ability, there is something in nature or the animal kingdom that has that. And we just need to slow down, realize that we are not at the top of the totem pole, and just really be aware of all the resources available to us in non-human form. Now, when I talk about animals, I'm including more than animals, I'm including fish, insects, I'm including the whole non-human species, but it's just easier to lump them together as animals. Years ago, I was teaching a workshop in Pennsylvania, and the girl had ordered a tent. I mean, we're having a tent meeting because she didn't like to be out in the sun. And I've forgotten what we were talking about. But anyway, this really unique dragonfly just started coming around, buzzing around, lighting on people, buzzing around us. So I acknowledged the dragonfly. I said, "Look at that dragonfly." And, he just all stayed with us. Then we had lunch and we had our afternoon inside. We were sitting in her den where she had the sliding glass doors. That dragonfly came and started beating against the glass. Well, again, I acknowledged she didn't mention how pretty it was, but that's all I did. It's about 6 months later, I was teaching a workshop at my farm, and I had some Blue Ridge Nature Mineral flower essences. And I had not used them for years. For some reason, I thought I need to get these out. So I got these boxes out. There were probably, I'd say 45 boxes of little, vials of essences. And I passed them around. I said, everybody just take whatever essences you feel like you resonate with and just put a couple of drops on your body somewhere. When we got through, everybody, I said, well, let's share what essences that we got. Guess what the essence was that every single person chose, and the only one that every person chose? Anybody want to guess? It was the dragonfly. So I just put down my notes. I thought, okay, I get it, So we really connected with the essence of the dragonfly. When we did, it was as if this whole room was full of animals, full of non-human species. It's like they were outside waiting in line. And what the dragonfly was saying was, we have been very patient. We are waiting for you to acknowledge us, to partner with us. And, I remember saying, there's no way we can connect with all of you, today, but we will eventually. The dragonfly is a symbol of the illusion of separateness. They take us beyond that illusion. So to me, the dragonfly is really special because it really, to me, is bringing all the species to us for us to look at and consider and to partner with. So animals and you. Two examples that I can give how an animal really takes you into your own energy. Well, let me preface this. When someone calls me about their animal, I let them know that I'll be glad to work with their animal and them, but I want them to be prepared to find out more about themselves, because the animals that we come in contact with, whether they are domesticated pets or they are wild animals, there's a message for us in it. We are all connected, and you, to me, got to be open to what the message is. And Lynn, what's the name of your compassionate friends? What? Can you unmute Lynn? Lynn, can you unmute yourself? Okay, yeah.
Beloved Companions, North Carolina.
Okay, Beloved Companions. And Lynn tracks animals that are lost. You know, she helps bring those animals back to their families. And if we may have time for questions at the end, but if at any time you want to break in, ask something, share something, please feel free to do that. Just raise your hand so that we'll know to unmute you. A lady called me back probably 24 years ago, and her dog had left home. And so the first time when somebody calls me and they have an animal that is gone, I say, instead of thinking of the dogs as being lost or missing, think of him as being temporarily away. To me, that gives you a different energy. So in talking to her, we did whatever came up spiritually to try to understand why he was gone and what would bring him home. And we came to the point that I felt like I needed to ask her, if Moon really has completed his journey with you, if he really needs to be with somebody else, do you love him enough to let him go, to set him free? And she paused. I mean, she did not give me an immediate answer. She really thought it through. And she said, yes, I do. I said, okay, I'm not saying that that's the issue, but I just had to pose that question to her because it came up. Moon came back. I don't know what the time frame was, but maybe that day, the next day. 6 months later, she called me. She said, Mary, Moon left again. And I remembered what you told me, the way we sort of got him home last time. And I remember you asking me, did I love him enough to let him go? And she said, I told him that I did, that I prefer that he be home with me, but I did love him enough to let him go. And the words that she heard him say to her were, you love me enough to set me free. Why don't you love yourself enough to set yourself free? She went in the next day, quit her job, and made plans to move to the North Carolina coast to be the artist she had always wanted to be. Moon came home and he never left again. The bigger picture of his leaving was to get her to free herself. A young girl called me one time, and her dog, or I think it was her cat, was peeing in the house. So, we went through the process of explaining why animals need a void outside or in a box. And during the process, her deceased grandmother's energy was with us. And so I just held the sacred space for she and her grandmother to carry on whatever conversation that they carried on. I have forgotten what was said, really doesn't matter. But after her grandmother's spirit left and she felt complete with her grandmother, she realized the one piece of furniture the cat had peed on was a piece of furniture she had inherited from her grandmother. Now, I don't know how animals do it. I don't know if that animal consciously knew grandmother needs to talk to Beth, so I'm going to pee on the furniture. I don't know. But I know that the cat's peeing on that furniture got them to me, got the grandmother and the girl connected. So whenever you have any encounter with an animal, it's good to be open to the bigger picture. what is going on beyond this physical one-on-one. I alluded to the fact that, or earlier, that to me, when we need a characteristic, an ability, that an animal or nature is there for us. An example of that is I did a session with a professor at Greensboro College when I was going to a conference there. And she was Oriental, very timid in personality. And she had a classroom of varsity football players who had to take a certain course that she taught. And she was really intimidated by them. And I mean, just imagine, the setting, these guys who really don't want to learn what she's teaching, probably English or something. And they intimidated her. So when we went into session, a grizzly bear came to her. And, I held the space while they walked, worked, played, got to know each other. And the next day when she went into the classroom, I told her, I said, now just stand there at that threshold and know that your grizzly bear is with you. She said that when she got in class, she felt the bear was at the back of her classroom, just supporting her. And it made all the difference in her self-confidence. It just was. That's examples of how animals can really strengthen us. But you have to go beyond, I'm a woman and you're a cat. We're both spiritual beings and we're in this together.
Mary,
Yes.
you just said the magic word.
What's
That is the word beyond. Because to me, animals, the way I describe them, is beyond human. And I didn't make that up. I can't remember which book I read. Some author called animals or referred to animals as beyond human.
Mm-hmm.
And I really love that description because it doesn't put them, I mean, there is no real hierarchy out in the animal world, really, when they're in community with each other. And I see it when I track, and I have cameras on these sites with the possums and the squirrels and the raccoons and the feral cats and the dog and the rats. They all come to eat out of the food bowl at a different time throughout the night. I've seen it over and over again. There's no competition for food in a community of wild beyonds living in a space where there's shelter and food. They share.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have so far to go to match the beyonds. They're the beyond humans.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Thank you. It's about each species respects the other species. And I think respect is such a huge quality that the animals have, and that they want us to respect them. The cats are very energetically in tune. We have, years ago when my mother-in-law was living, she was recovering from a broken hip. And she came to visit. She was able to get around and walk around, but she was still mending. And she came to visit us. Now, she was a dog person. She'd never had cats and really never wanted cats. And when she came, our two cats would give her space. They just would go be in another room. So this day she was sitting in a rocking chair, and our cat, Priscilla, calico cat, jumped up on her lap and sat right there on her hip that had been broken. And she sat there the whole time that my mother-in-law was there. Let me get the name of it. The Fauna Communications Research Institute in Pittsboro, North Carolina. They did a study of the dominant purr of cats. With the exception of the cheetah, the dominant purr of cats is the same megahertz at which bones heal. cats will automatically go to where you need healing. If one of our cats were to sleep next to my husband, he will go to my husband's lower back. That's just where he goes. When the cat sleeps near to me, he's sitting right here. And I thought, why there? And a couple of years ago, I dislocated this shoulder. Cats understand you energetically. I was doing a energy healing session with my daughter's friend, and she was on the table, and Priscilla, the cat that had sat on my mother-in-law's lap, hip, jumped up on the massage table. And I asked Lynn if she was okay with her being there, and she said, sure. So when I connected with Lynn energetically, I felt as if her horror line was out of balance. The horror line is a electrical circuit, sort of, that is above your head, goes straight down your body, and goes down into the earth center. And when that horror line is out of balance, we were taught in Healing Touch to sort of center ourselves, make sure our horror line is in balance, and then get in a certain stance and send that energy from your horror line to that person's, and it will get it back in line. So I had my eyes closed, and I was getting ready to do that, and I heard a shift in the room. And I thought, oh, Priscilla has probably jumped off of the massage table. I didn't open my eyes. Well, within a second or two, Lynn's horror line was in perfect alignment. And I thought, damn, that was fast. It was. So I opened my eyes, and you know how a cat will usually lie in your lap? Priscilla was stretched out. Her paws were up toward Lynn's heart. Her body was vertical on her horror line, and her legs were straight out. She was in a straight line. Now, I've never seen a cat lay like that before. Priscilla had gotten up on Lynn where her horror line needed to be in alignment, and she did the alignment. I didn't do a thing. I just provided the space for the cat to do it. They absolutely are in tune with us.
Carrie,
Yes.
you mentioned it's Cheryl.
Oh, okay. I was looking for you.
Yeah,
See if
it's
I can
Cheryl.
find you.
And
Okay, there you go. Okay.
yeah, you mentioned the cats all except the cheetah.
Yes,
What is different about the cheetahs per?
I do not know.
Okay,
I can send you what I have written up from that study if you would like for me to. I'll share my email at the end, and if you want that, just let me know. But the study did not say what was different about the cheetah. I don't know.
because I know they purr,
Right? Yes.
but they don't.
Oh, yes.
But they don't roar.
And I'm
other
glad
big
you
cats.
mentioned their purring. Cats purr when they're happy. They purr when they are sick. They purr at different times. I used to think that cats purred meant that they were like content, but they really purr a lot of different times. And cats have fewer of the arthritic issues that I think dogs have because they are more energetically in tune. Okay. The Heart Math Institute in California is dedicated to people understanding the energy of their heart and how working with your heart energy can help you have a healthier, happier life. And they really do it from a scientific viewpoint. They do the scientific studies and all that. Because for a lot of people to accept, you have to have the factual stuff that they can see. They put electrocardiograms on a little boy named Josh and on his cat named Mabel. And they had them in separate rooms. When they brought Josh in with Mabel, his heart went into a slower, more coherent rhythm. than when he was away from her. And the same thing happened to the cat's heart rate. A coherent heart rate is a heart rate at which your body, your heart rate is at the same it is synchronized with your breath. And it is a very slow, rhythmic heartbeat. It's a consistent wave more than a up and down. When you have a coherent heart rate, you have a more positive attitude, your blood pressure lowers, you have less stress, or you may have the stress, but it affects you differently. You have improved mental health. The list goes on and on why a coherent heart rate is healthy for you. So when we look at our heart rate and our heart energy, one of the techniques that I like to do with people is the sacred, and with animals, it's the sacred heart blessing. And it really expands your heart energy around your own self. But the HeartMath Institute has determined that, okay, the human person, their heart energy can be as much as 8 or 10 feet outside of their body. Okay. With a horse, their energy field of their heart is 5 times that of a human. Let me show you this chart they have. Well, hold on. Here it is. Okay. This is the human heart. Your heart, man, most of the times your heart space is really not that far out. We condense it, we build up barriers. But look at the horse, 45 to 50 feet beyond his body.
Mary, I think you
I
need
don't
to
see
share your
anything,
screen
Mary.
so people
Oh,
can see what you're
we can't
talking
see it.
about.
Okay, y'all don't see that?
No.
Okay, sorry. Okay, let me go back over here. Okay, well, let me go to my Zoom PowerPoint. Okay, are you seeing it yet?
No, not yet.
Okay, all right, hold on. Okay. If I go to share PowerPoint. Okay, Alan, I'm clicking on it. Do you have any thoughts?
I know you got it before we set things up.
Yeah.
In the Zoom window, you click the share screen button, and then a window pops up to ask you what part of your screen you want to share.
Right. Okay. Let me hit it again. Okay. I hit the share button and okay.
And then once you select it, there's another button at the bottom right to actually share it.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Okay. Now do you see it?
Now it's coming up. Yes.
Okay,
we got
all right.
There it is.
But that's not right. Okay, hold on. How's that? Can you see it now?
Yes.
Yes, we got it.
Okay, all right. Here's the human heart, and here is the horse's heart. And and now this is not every horse. There are, horses are like humans. We have different issues. But when a horse has that coherent heart rate, just being in his presence will allow you to have a coherent heart rate. They have done studies, the HeartMath people have done studies where being in the horse's presence for just a few minutes and touching that horse's heart energy can bring your heart into that same coherent, slow, healthy rate. Now, to me, that's amazing. I know I had one person who we were working with my horses, and she laid or she put her back up against the horse's body. And she said, I've never felt so grounded in my whole life because he took her energy and just put it right there in the present moment.
Mary,
Yes.
I hope you have a few extra minutes to tell a story about Starman.
Oh, okay. I will if we, yeah, okay. I sure will. Well, okay. A Starman is a horse that we have. He went to Texas to be with my son's friend and was on a cattle farm for the first couple of years of his life. He came back, just a real big, giant, gentle quarter horse. And a couple of years later, his left eye started tearing, and then it got swollen. And he had a eye disease that horses get from the urine of cows. So we think that's how he got it. It's a issue that your eye gets watery, gets inflamed, and you are sensitive to the light, to the sunlight, and you can eventually go blind in that eye. So with Rooster, whenever his eye would start to have an episode, he would start getting into tear in his eye, and then it would go into the full-fledged swollen eye, and we'd have to put a mask on, a sunscreen mask. And, this would happen several times a year. And so I was teaching an animal workshop that day, and I had noticed the tear starting to go down. I thought, oh, heck. So we went down to the barn. We were going to work with the animals, and I explained to the people about Rooster's condition and the fact that his eye had been, tearing. And so if history was correct, he would continue to go into a full-fledged swollen eye. So there were 5 of us, and one was a small animal vet, and we all got around Rooster, and I just said, Rooster, we're humans, and we just want to work with you. And there were 2 people, in addition to me, who got the feeling that he was saying, my eye does this because, humans fail to see who we are. So we all said, I'm Mary and you are Rooster, and I see you as that blessed spiritual being you are who happens to be a horse companion to me. And we all acknowledge his spirituality beyond his physical horseness. Okay. Then I noticed he was a sorrel. He had started getting little white dots on his body. Sort of, I kidded my son, he was going to be in Appaloosa. And the vet had told us that these white dots were just a lack of pigmentation in the skin, that there was nothing wrong with them, that show horses, they didn't like show horses to have them, but it was nothing. So when we were working with Rooster that day, I noticed one of those little dots on his shoulder looked like a star. And I said, oh, you're from the stars. And he said, the horses who get these spots are with people who can recognize them as star creatures. So I told Rooster, I said, Rooster, you're a Starman to me. I'm honored that you are here in horse form. His eye stopped watering. It never went into that full-fledged swollen eye condition. And anytime since then, that was probably 15 years ago, anytime since then, if he gets a tear, I tell him you're a Starman. And it never goes anywhere. And I even haven't had to do that recently at all. But what happens is when I'm working with a client and they need to go back to their source home, and their source home may be somewhere other than Earth, Starman will take them back to their source home. So that's just another awesome way in which animals, can really help us know more about ourselves. Did you want to add anything, Lynn, to that?
I've met him. I'm glad to hear he's still on your farm.
Oh, he is. He is at our little retirement barn right outside of our house, and is just as happy as he can be. Yeah.
Yeah, that gives me another good reason to come see you sooner than later.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. All right, we've only got about 5 minutes left. One of the questions in my little description was, what is your favorite animal? If you could be an animal, what would it be? The reason I ask that is just to take a few moments and what animal, and it could be a fish, it doesn't have to be an animal or a mammal. What non-human species really resonates with you? And it may be a domesticated animal companion, or it could be a wild animal. Does anybody want to share what animal resonates with them? If one does. Yes, Rose.
An elephant.
An elephant. Okay. What is it about the elephant that attracts you?
The elephant is really quite intelligent.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Has a big heart.
Yeah, he does. And he digests very little of his food. When I went to South Africa, it was amazing what we learned about the animals there. But when he eats food and then he excretes what he doesn't use, that fertilizes everything else. I mean, it's amazing how the elephant is such a recycler of food energy for the rest of the woods or safari or wherever that they are. Anybody else want to share what animal resonates? Yes, Nancy.
Birds. I love birds.
Okay, and what about birds? Anything particular?
Well, the fact that they're so free,
Mm-hmm.
they can fly high, they fly in all different directions.
Yeah.
Their vantage point, I've often seen birds go very high up in the trees, and I think, oh, what a wonderful thing to be able to do.
Oh, yeah.
Uh,
Go ahead.
so I guess their freedom, and then they seem like they're gentle to me.
Mm-hmm. The Flight of the Eagle is a beautiful instrumental music by John St. John, I believe it is. It's absolutely wonderful music, The Flight of the Eagle.
Okay.
That ability to get above everything else and see that bigger picture, that freedom that they symbolize. These are things that we humans could really benefit from. To me, whatever animal resonates with you, they have a gift for you. If you like that thought of freedom, of flying out just wherever you want to, imagine being with a bird. Imagine going out there and doing that. Imagine walking in the path of an elephant. Whatever animal you resonate with, journey with them. Invite them to see where you live and what you do, and then let them take you to their den, how they feed their animals, how they look for food, what they do. Really partnership with that animal so that you understand his true essence. And then gift him something from you, whether it is respect, acknowledgement, but gift him something. And then allow him to gift you with something. And I swear you will feel more confident. You will feel more at peace. You will feel connected to that non-human. What I really want to challenge you to is to, in your association with animals, whether it is, again, a hung pet or some animal in the wild, really look at that encounter, especially if that animal appears to you, you see it run across the road several times. Really go into their essence and see how they can enrich your life and how you can respect and enrich theirs. I'm going to share another, hold here just a second. Okay, can y'all see that?
Yeah, it's come up.
Okay. Looking back at the horse, is it only the size of a horse's heart that predisposes them to be unforgettable? Or is it a powerful something else radiating from them? The truth is, a horse doesn't have to be genetically built for greatness to be great. They're simply born with it, because possessing a heart with incredible ability is every horse's superpower.
Mhm. Yes.
And that is from heartmath.org. I know it's 8 o'clock. I have a little summary I want to share with you, but before I do that, does anybody want to share anything or ask any questions?
May I share just one more thing with Rose?
Yes.
Rose, about the elephants. Elephants tune the earth. That's their main job, is they tune the earth just like the whales do the water. So they work in tandem. And for elephants, they're happiest when they're in groups, because to really get the job done, they travel about 60 miles a day, and it takes 5 of them. That it takes 5 elephants. That's their ideal group. So when you think about what an elephant brings to you, and you think about the 5 most important people in your life, think about how maybe you all tune the earth as you walk.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Thank you.
So
Thank you.
thanks for letting me share that, Mary.
Yeah, sure. Rose, did you want to say something?
You know, I read the Hamid Bey information, but I have read that animals have made a pact to have us eat them. Maybe
Sorry,
man,
would you say that again?
animals have made a pact to let people consume them, eat them. Now, man may not do a good job of killing and processing that meat, but I don't know. I've read that. What do you think? Did they agree to be eaten?
Bigger. I don't know. And I'm not going to get into a discussion about being a meat eater or a vegetarian or a vegan, because that's not the aim of my emphasis of how animals and we need to respect and partner with each other. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. I think the disrespect comes if you are a meat eater, then you should honor every single bit of the process of having that meat for you. I feel the same way about plants. If you eat plants out of the ground, then you are to respect them and give thanks for them. And it is a dishonoring if we consume anything without being in gratitude for that. Because the earth is such a selfless place, such a selfless energy. And we as human just absolutely need to have more respect for non-humans. Okay, anybody else want to add something or ask something before I close? Okay, let me show you this. Okay, I'm going to go back down here. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and share my email in case anybody does want me to send them any of the information we've talked about. There's my email, marylemon777@gmail.com. Phone number 704-984-1099. That's the way you can contact me. Okay. So, in summary, animals are, okay, are y'all able to see this?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. Animals are a resource for our personal spiritual growth. Be aware of the bigger picture in your encounters with animals. Experience a heart connection with an animal up close and personal or from afar. And that's something I would like you to do. If you are going to attend my workshop in a week and a half, consciously have a heart connection with an animal. And again, it can be an animal that is in Africa. You know, it doesn't have to be close encounter, you know, a 1-on-1, 5 feet away from each other. It can be a spiritual, energetic connection. Animals show us how to be completely present in the moment. To me, this is one of their biggest gifts to us. We as humans are often living in the past, thinking, I wish I'd done this, or in the future, am I going to do that? And anytime you are anywhere except in the present moment, you are weaker energetically and physically. Animals absolutely know how to be present in the moment. Give gratitude when you are in the presence of an animal. I think if you will do those 4 or 5 things that I suggested, I think your life will be enriched by animals in really unexpected ways. Thank you for letting me share and just be with you this evening.
Hey, Mary,
Yes,
could
sir.
you tell a little bit about what your workshop will be in a couple weeks?
Oh, okay. All right. I said it's going to be spirit guides, totems, and friends. And I did that because a lot of people feel like that they have an animal totem that has always been with them. I will touch on the Native American animal totem, you know, the different totems that the Native Americans had and their thought about that. But I'm going to touch on the fact that we can have animals, to me, who are spiritual friends. They're people who love and support us. They are guides to us. We will talk about the different types of spirit guides that animals can be, because there are some that will be with you for your whole life and some that may come in for a one-shot deal or a 2 months time. There are different lengths of times that animals, you know, can be animal guides to us. And then we will have a meditation through which we will take a journey and be open to an animal spirit partnering with us. Does that give you enough of an idea?
Perfect. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you. Thanks for asking.
Sure.
Well, Mary, we thank you so much for being here with us tonight. And I want to thank everyone else who came and lent their energy to the evening. And thank you so much for all the wisdom that you've shared and the awareness that you've raised in us all about animals.
Thank you, Darcy.
You're welcome.